The $100 headphone price point seems pretty saturated right now. If you go to Amazon, you'll find more headphones in the $95 to $105 range than I really care to count. What makes the Grado SR80es worth it? Are they even worth it? Well, let's find out. What's going on, everybody? Jeremy with Detroit Tech. Grado Labs. I can probably count on one hand the amount of people who I know personally who could tell me what that company actually does. They're a smaller, less well-known audio company. They started out making like phono cartridges and branched out into headphones and some in-ears as well. Based in Brooklyn, Grado makes some pretty high-end headphones, pricing in the couple of $1,000 price point. While that's a little bit too rich for my blood, the SR80es run basically at $100. That is right up my alley. Let's dive right into the 4Fs, starting with finish. Now I'll start with this. I love how they look. Their style is amazing, especially when you get into the headphones where like the outer cup is made of hardwood or chrome. These actually are less flashy with just nice black plastic. The plastic itself doesn't feel terribly robust. They're very light and don't feel like they could really take a lot of punishment. The spring steel headband is covered in this kind of leather-like material, and the whole thing is just really super retro. The cable's about 5.5 feet long or so. It's nice and thick and doesn't really transmit any sound if it bumps against things. The plug is nice and robust as well. Comes with an 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch adapter. And I would like to see it thread on the way the DT990s do, but oh well. I love the look of the headphones again, but finish does get a 3 out of 5 simply for the material. On to fit. They don't actually clamp very hard and are pretty light. The headband isn't padded, but you don't really notice it because of how light they are. The ear cups do pivot a bit and will spin 360 degrees to make sure they fit perfectly against your ears. And yes, against your ears. These are on-ear, not over-ear. Now, I usually shy away from on-ear headphones for this simple reason. They're uncomfortable, especially for long listening sessions, and sometimes after like a minute. The pads on these are pretty cushy, so it's not too bad, but after about 45 minutes or so, my ears do start getting really warm. They even start getting a little bit sore. These are a bit annoying to wear as well with my glasses as well, because they just push my the glasses into my face, whatever. Grado does have over-the-ear headphones. They're just orders of magnitude more expensive. Fit gets a 2.5 out of 5. Fiscal is next. These usually sit at $99 or so. I'll put a link in the description below if you'd like to check them out as well. For that price, there are tons of options. Sennheiser even has a pair of Bluetooth headphones, only a couple of dollars more expensive. I didn't know that. But the amazing thing is you can get pretty great quality at this price. I'm going to assume these don't sound like absolute crap and give them a 4 out of 5 for Fiscal. The price point is just too good. Fidelity is next, and it's so important I factor it in twice to my averages. These are open back headphones, so you wouldn't want to use them on your commute to work or in the office. It'll bleed a lot. Their impedance is only 32 ohms, so you won't have any issues pushing these to a decent volume with basically almost any source. The first thing I noticed is these really had a clarity to them and a lot of treble really. While there is a bunch of high end, there isn't too much sibilance for me. Where the DT990s killed me in certain songs because of that sibilance, these were actually totally fine, just very crisp. That being said, the high mid to low treble could get a little bit hard on the ears sometimes. During Iggy Azalea's Black Widow, I got pretty annoyed kind of at the shrill vocal during the pre-chorus. When I looked at the frequency response graph, I noticed there's kind of a pretty decent boost at 2K, which makes a lot of sense. The couple of boosts higher up really let detail shine through, such as reverb and Diana Krall, or the bow across the strings and anything. So these do provide oodles of detail. The mids are pretty flat, vocals sit right up front and are very clear. Some headphones can like push them really far back and make them almost unintelligible. These are good, and I would say they do lack a little touch of warmth. Pride and Joy by Stevie Ray Vaughan seemed to just lose a little bit of friendliness without that warmth. Now, my first impression of the low end was actually pretty bad. I don't remember if I was listening to headphones with like heavy bass right beforehand or like my speaker setup with a giant subwoofer. Either way, I was really underwhelmed. I came back to them a couple weeks later to really sit down and analyze them more thoroughly and was pleasantly surprised. While the bass isn't huge, it does start rolling off pretty quickly after 100 hertz. It's definitely there. There's a lot of definition and it's not boomy and doesn't get muddy. Back to Black Widow by Iggy Azalea, I used this track to test the low end of headphones. The verse has some crazy low end. Some headphones have so little bass the song just sucks. Others try to boost up the low end and compensate for crap drivers. The SR80Es don't really make me miss the big low end. I could have used maybe a bit more for some songs, that really rely on the bass, but they have just enough to keep me interested. Now the stereo separation is perfectly fine. They do it well, but I haven't really found anything yet to really compare to the S3H audio monitors from Atom Audio. They just completely ruined it for me. I mean, they're $7 a pair, so they should be really good, but okay, sidebar, we're back. The SR80e have a pretty close soundstage. They don't sound terribly wide. Even when you employ a good slap delay, they still sound pretty close. Nothing really spreads out. It's not terrible, especially for, $100, but they could be a little bit wider. Ultimately, Fidelity does get 4 out of 5 from me. Averaged together, Fidelity, of course, counting twice, these get a 3.5 out of 5. So basically, they wouldn't be a runaway recommendation, unless. So for the general public, I probably wouldn't recommend these. They have a cable, they don't squash your brain with all the bass, so who would bother recommending these? Well, I would recommend them to a few types of people. Someone who really likes analytical headphones, someone who only has a budget of $100 and doesn't need to use the headphones for the commute, someone who wants to round out their headphone collection. Basically, if you have $100 to spare and know what soundstage means, these are for you. Or maybe you have an obsession with retro stuff, whatever. These are solidly in my rotation, though I can't wear them for a terribly long time. But if you're one of those people I just described, the Grado SR80e get a strong recommendation for me. You can't go wrong for $100. Thanks for watching, everyone. If this was a helpful review, hit the thumbs up and subscribe. If you think I'm part of the Ball Earth conspiracy, hit the thumbs down, but also email me. I really just want to hear what you have to say about that. Either way, let us know in the comments below whether you prefer open or closed back headphones, and we'll catch you in the next one.